My name is Maria, and you're listening to the podcast where we deconstruct someone's PhD experience so that you can reconstruct your own. This is a journey with many challenges, but you might find yourself in a similar situation as one of the guests here. Enjoy listening. Hello, curious researchers. Do you think to yourself that if you had a different supervisor, you could have gone further in your PhD? If yes, you are not alone. What I heard that goes in this direction from other PhDs are following thoughts. I wish my supervisor would actually help me change my perspective. Or, I wish my supervisor would be more present. Or, I wish my supervisor would realize what is needed. And it is interesting that all of them were phrased, I wish for something. Are you familiar with the expression, when there is a wish, there is a way? And also another one, be careful what you wish for. Why be careful what you wish for? Because if we wish that the supervisor would actually help us change the perspective, it is a very broad wish. And it can come to realization in different ways than you imagine. These are very broad statements, and I'm sure that you have a detailed description of what it means that your supervisor would actually help you change the perspective, or that your supervisor would be more present. That is also very broad, and for all of us, it means a different thing. What does it mean for you that your supervisor is more present, or maybe less present? Does it mean that you want to have scheduled and planned meetings with your supervisor? Or does it mean that you want to be able to barge in your supervisor's office whenever you need something? What does it mean for you? That is the key. And what are the ways that this can surprise you if you say, I wish my supervisor would be more present? For example, your supervisor is not very present now, and you say, I wish my supervisor would be more present. It can go to the other extreme. It could be that your supervisor is omnipresent and is always breathing behind your back, and how you are wishing for your supervisor to be less present. So see for yourself what it is that you actually wish for. What is it that would make you happy in this scenario right now? And the thing is that we don't know until we are in that scenario whether that is really what we hoped for. So you can also have a different wish when this comes true. But before this comes true, let's go in the direction of making it come true. What we want is to figure out the details of what you want to happen. And the details will also show you what it is that you need to do. Let's take the example that you wish your supervisor would help you change your perspective. In this case, we are waiting for the supervisor to come to us. There is nothing that is happening on our side. We are waiting for heavens to open to us and something to change. What is it that you can do about this change? Because if we wait for others to realize what is it that we want, this will probably never happen. We are not focusing that much on reading other people's minds, and others are also not focusing on reading our mind. And even if we do, we might not be very good at it. We might misinterpret things, we don't have the whole picture. So I invite you to focus on your mind, on your wishes, on your agency and your power in this case. Let's check what is in your power, because the influencing power lies within you. And it's not only about authority, that only if you are in a position of authority you have a power. It is your own and unique way of having the influence on people around you. What I would invite you is to see how this is happening with people around you. This can be a very nice exercise. If you're scared of exercising this with your PhD supervisor, can you have a look what happens in your peer-to-peer communication? in your communication with your friends? How are you showing up there? How are you influencing other people? And how do they respond to that? What do they tell you that you are very good at? What is your superpower? And influence is not just one way of doing things. We're all different and we all have different superpowers. And you do too. I'm absolutely convinced that you have at least one superpower, if not more, and probably you have more. Now, instead of asking, how can my supervisor help me change the perspective? Let's ask, how can I help my supervisor help me change the perspective? And if that's too complicated to go in that direction, maybe ask ourselves, how can I change the perspective? How can I make it crystal clear to myself what is it that I want? Because once we know what we want, and when we are sold to our own idea and our own wish, then there is no other option. Then we go towards that. And it doesn't mean that all the details are going to realize exactly how you imagine it. It just means that you have the drive and you are going in a certain direction. So let's go further. How can you share with your supervisor that you have a specific wish, that you want to change the perspective, and you would like her or his help to help you change the perspective? How can you share with your supervisor that you want her or him to be more present? What is it that you need from your PhD supervisor? Can you share that? And how can you realize what is it that you need and make one single step towards that? I'm not talking about moving tomorrow to the place where you want to be, but what is the next logical step? What is the next thing that you can do to get you moving in that direction? And maybe these questions help you, maybe not. Whatever you choose, you will be choosing for yourself. You are choosing to do something for yourself instead of waiting for other people to deliver this to us. And when you have these wishes and desires crystallized, you're also showing yourself that you can make your wishes come true. And be curious and be open how they are going to come true. Because you are going to start moving in a certain direction, and there are going to be things popping up that you did not anticipate. Because it's not about anticipating and predicting and having it all figured out. It's about moving one step at a time, rather than staying stuck with where we are right now and trying to figure out a perfect scenario for our wishes to come true. It is really about moving forward. And if that is something you struggle with, you are not the only one. We are all trying to find this ideal scenario, but then some of us keep moving while we imagine that, and some of us, we stay stuck until we figure it out entirely. So if this is something that you would want to talk about, you would like to share, I invite you to book a free discovery call where we can have a chit chat about your PhD, about what is it that this episode inspired you to do, or maybe annoyed you. Maybe you think, oh, what Maria is saying is total nonsense. This is what I'm thinking. As usual, I'm extremely curious where this will bring you. Hoping to hear from you. The link to the discovery call is in the description of this episode. See you there. Thanks for listening to this podcast episode. If there was anything that you discovered or found remotely interesting, do share. I'm always curious to hear what is it that you resonated with. See you in the next episode.